Alright, hi ladies and gentlemen. So today we're going to start talking about cell organelles, and what you need in front of you is your notebook, a pencil or a pen, and your booklet of cell organelles. We had put these into our notebooks the other day. So the first thing I want to talk about are cell organelles, and we introduced this yesterday, but an organelle is a tiny organ within the cell. Okay? They allow the cell to function and to be able to survive. Without these organelles, the cell would not survive. So the organelles kind of work together like a team, or like the members of a band, and if they didn't work together, the cell wouldn't survive. So we're going to take today and we're going to learn half of the organelles, and then in the next day or so we're going to learn the other half of the organelles. Okay? So go ahead and turn the booklet open to the first page. We're actually going to start on the outside of the cell, and in this case, this is a plant cell. Okay, and we're going to talk about the cell membrane and the cell wall. All right, so we're going to start off with the outside, and we'll start with the cell membrane. Now, the cell membrane is found in both plant and animal cells. So you're going to notice that there is a difference between plant and animal cells, and the cell membrane is found in both of these. Okay, it controls the movement of materials in and out of the cell. So what you need to do now is pick up your pencil, look on your booklet, and at the first bullet underneath cell membrane, you are filling in the underlined word movement. Alright, so it allows things to move in and out of the cell. Now this is really important because it allows waste to get out of the cell, and it allows nutrients to get into the cell. Okay, so it controls what goes in and out. But it doesn't allow everything in or everything out. So we say it is selectively permeable. So that's your next fill-in on your paper. Go ahead and pick up your pencil and write in the term selectively permeable. It chooses what enters and exits the cell. So again, not everything is able to go in, and not everything is able to come out. Alright, if we look at a picture of the cell membrane, we see all of these things stuck in it. Okay, so the purple, right, are the water-loving parts of the cell membrane, and then those little stringy tails, those are the lipids, and they are actually water-hating. As we know, lipids are hydrophobic, right, so they're water-hating, and so they are on the inside of the cell membrane. And this is called a lipid bilayer, so the two layers of the purple and the blue pushed together. Now you'll notice these weird, like orangey red things sticking in and out. Those are carbohydrates and proteins. So also on the top, that kind of looks like there's little black antennae on the purple on the top of it. Those again are carbohydrates and proteins. Okay, so they kind of signal to the cell what kind of cell it is, allow it to attach to other cells, that type of thing. So they're kind of like flags or signals that allow the cell to say what it is. All right. So again, this cell membrane is really important, but it's on the outside of animal cells. And on a plant cell, it's just on the inside of this object called the cell wall. Okay, so now we're moving on to the cell wall. So cell walls are only found in plant cells. Animal cells do not have cell walls. This gives those plant cells, remember we looked at cork underneath the microscope? This gives those plant cells like cork their brick-like appearance. Okay? These guys provide structure and support. So those are your two fill-ins. So pick up your pencil and write in structure and support in your notes underneath cell wall. Now again, these are not found in animal cells, only plant cells. And they are what give the plant cells kind of that box or brick-like appearance. Okay? So that's the outside of the cell. Now we're going to move inside the cell. And inside the cell is this kind of jelly-like material called the cytoplasm. It is the environment of the cell. So on your notes, you are going to write down the word environment. So we're on the next page where it says moving to the inside of the cell in your booklet. And it's the environment of the cell. It's kind of jello-like or jelly-like, and all of the other organelles kind of float within it. So a cell is not filled like with a balloon, like empty, like with just air. There's actually this jelly-like material inside, and that's called the cytoplasm. Okay? The next organelle we're going to look at, most of you already know. It is called the nucleus. The nucleus is found in both plant and animal cells, and it is the control center, or sometimes called the brain of the cell. It controls what the cell produces, what the cell does. Okay? That's very important. Now, there are two different types of cells. Some cells do not have a nucleus, and they are called a prokaryote. So in your notes, you're filling in the word does not in the blank next to prokaryote cell. Okay? Sometimes people call it prokaryote as well. But I remember this pro rhymes with no, so these guys have no nucleus. The other type of cell is called a eukaryote, or a eukaryotic cell. These guys do have a nucleus. So I know I have nucleus underlined on this PowerPoint, but you're writing in do contain a nucleus. And this would be like your cells. You have a nucleus in your cells. And so on this PowerPoint, right here is the nucleus. These bacteria don't have a nucleus, so their DNA just kind of floats within their cell. But in our cells, we're going to talk here in a minute, that the DNA is found inside our nucleus. Okay? All right, moving on. The very outside of the nucleus is called the nuclear membrane. It is found in both plant and animal cells. So in your notes, you are filling in the term nucleus under nuclear membrane. It's the outside covering of the nucleus. You will notice there are pores, again, these little holes, just like the cell membrane. This allows certain things into the nucleus and certain things out of the nucleus. Very important. Again, these are all found in plant and animal cells. All right, moving on. Inside the nucleus, we find the DNA. And when the DNA is all scrunched up and pushed together, we call that a chromosome. Okay? In your body, you have 23 pairs, half, 23 from mom, 23 from dad, so 23 pairs of chromosomes, or 46 total. So in your notes, you're writing down 23 pairs of chromosomes. We usually make them look kind of like an X shape, like is on your paper. Half of that X came from mommy, half of that X came from daddy, okay? And that made you. So this is the information, the blueprint that tells you what to look like and how to function. Okay? Without this, you wouldn't look like you. You wouldn't function appropriately. Okay? So the DNA is scrunched up here and is called a chromosome once it's all tightly packed together. All right? Both plant and animal cells have DNA. So to review, the only organelle we talked about today that is only found in plant cells is the cell wall. The cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, nuclear membrane, and chromosomes are found in both plant and animal cells. Okay, that's it for today. Follow the rest of the guidelines on Schoology so you know what else to do.